I'm myself Dr. Mohan Kumar. Presently, I'm going to talk about business research methodology. In that, session number 45, we are talking about how data analysis helps the decision maker. A manager in a business organization in different levels has to perform an important role of decision making. For solving any organizational problem, which most of the times happens to be complex in nature, he has to identify a set of alternatives, evaluate them, and choose the best alternatives. To experience the expertise, rationality, and wisdom gained by the manager for better evaluation of the alternative available at his disposal. He has to consider several factors, sometimes singly and sometimes jointly. During the process of decision making, he has to deal with the data of not only his organization but also of other competing organizations. It would be challenging situation for a manager when he has to face so many variables operating simultaneously, something internal, external. He has to identify the important variables or the dominating factors, and he should be able to distinguish one factor from the other. He should be able to find which factors have similar characteristics and which factors stand apart. At times, he may be required to have a good idea of the values that the variable would assume in future occasions. The task of a manager becomes all the more difficult in view of the risk and uncertainties surrounding the future events. Also, he should be able to understand the impact of several of the environmental factors on his organization. Sometimes a manager has to take a single stage decision, and at times he is called for a take a multi stage the basis of various factors operating in the area. Then when it comes to multivariate analysis, let us get into multivariate analysis. What is it? Multivariate data analysis or is equal to statistical methods that simultaneously analyze multiple measurements on each individual or object under investigation. Then why do we use it? For the sake of measurement, for the sake of explanation and prediction, and to test the hypothesis. Advantages of multivariate analysis. It is easy to do using standard statistical software packages. Interpretation is fairly straightforward. Adds to descriptive data by highlighting the influence of the combined and dependent variables on the survey responses. It allows for the review of the instrument properties and provides and suggestions for the sake of improvement. We can classify the multivariate models. It started with cross correlation. It is an important exploratory tool for modeling multivariate time series. It is the cross correlation function. The CCF generalizes the ACF to do the multivariate cases. Thus, its main purpose is to find the linear dynamic relationship in time series data that have been generated from stationary process. Followed by this single equation model. Two types of so-called single equation models can be considered for multivariate forecasting, that is regression models and transfer function model. The followed by this vector autoregressions and WOMA models we call. Co-integration. Although vector autoregression modeling traditionally assumes stationary of all series, it is not generally recommended to difference non-stationary component individually. As such, a step may destroy important dynamic information. The multiple regression analysis. It is adopted when the researcher has one dependent variable which is presumed to be a function of two or more independent variables. The object of this analysis is to make a prediction about the dependent variable based on its covariance with all the concerned independent variables. Multiple discriminant analysis. This analysis is appropriate when the researcher has a single dependent variable that cannot be measured but can be classified into two or more groups on the basis of some attribute. The object of this analysis happens to be to predict an entity possibility of belonging to a particular group based on several predictor variables. Multivariate analysis of variance. This analysis is an extension of two-way ANOVA, wherein the ratio among the group variance to within the group variance is worked out on a set of variables. Thank you for listening